Hey guys, got another video for you. This time we're going to set up the AMP portion of your LAMP server. In essence, we're going to set up Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So the first thing we want to do before we get started with the software installation is to make sure that our software on the operating system itself is up to date. So we're going to use a program called apt-get, which is pretty much exactly the same as yum if you've used that on other systems. But we're going to sudo apt-get and update our operating system. I add the -y onto the end of it to automatically say yes to the prompt. Do you want to do this operation? So next, after the update completes, I'm going to make sure that we have the latest version of all of our software. So update just makes sure we have the updates, but upgrade will actually upgrade us to the most recent versions. So now that the upgrade is complete, we're going to install Apache. The command for that is sudo apt-get install Apache 2, and the -y means don't ask me if I'm sure. Okay, now that Apache is installed, let's actually check to make sure it's successfully installed. We'll go back to our Cloud Platform console, and you'll notice the external IP address has a link next to it that we can click, which will open up in our website in a new tab. It automatically suggests HTTPS. We're going to take that off of it and go to the actual unencrypted version of it. And there we go. We have the Apache 2 Debian default web page. So Apache is successfully installed. We'll go back to our command prompt, and now we're going to install PHP. So we'll use the same command, but this time PHP 7.0 for the latest version, and let that run. Once that's complete, we need to make sure that the web server can process PHP files correctly. So we do that by creating a PHP file in our web directory on the server. So we'll use sudo vi in this case, or you could use nano or another text editor to create a file in var www html named phpinfo.php. You can name it anything you want, but I use phpinfo. And inside this file, we're going to put that command you're probably familiar with, phpinfo, which displays all the information about PHP's configuration. And we're going to save that. And then we go back to our instance here and /php info.php, and it should tell us everything about our installation. And this tells us that it's successfully processing PHP files. So next, we'll go back to our command prompt, and now we need to install the database. We've got Apache, we've got PHP, now we need MySQL. So I'm going to enter the command sudo apt-get install, and in this case, we're installing a variation of MySQL called MariaDB, and we want the server packages, not the client packages. Once the installation is complete, we want to secure the installation. So we run the command MySQL_secure_ installation, and we preface that with sudo because we want to run as administrator. So it asks us what the current password is. There is none, so we press enter. And then it asks if you want to set the root password. We do, so we press enter. And then it asks us for the password. And if you go look on Folio in the LAMP installation notes, you'll see the default password that I'm requesting that you choose for your database. And we'll enter that in twice. Notice you didn't actually see the characters for the password as you typed. That is intentional for security purposes. So we're going to select yes for the remaining options here, and you can do that just by hitting enter. remove anonymous users, disallow remote login for root, remove the test database, and reload everything to make it official. The one thing we didn't do was test MySQL to make sure that it's running. So MySQL is accessed by using the sudo command to run the MySQL command and connect as root. So we'll type in sudo MySQL -u for user root, press enter, and you'll see that it accesses the database and gives us a command prompt. Here we can do commands such as show databases and see our databases, and we haven't set up any databases other than the ones that are used to operate the MySQL software. So there you go. We have now installed Apache, PHP, and MariaDB, which is just a fork of MySQL. Now, the last thing we need to do though is we need to change to our var www folder and take a look at something that's important to our configuration. You'll notice that the HTML folder is owned by root, which is the admin user on this computer. But if you run the ps command, which shows you the processes that are currently running, you'll see that Apache is running on this computer under the user www-data. So in essence, we have a folder that's owned by root, but a program that's running under a different user. So what we need to do is change it so that www-data actually owns this folder. That way we can read, write, and do everything we need to in that folder. So the first thing we want to do is we want to change ownership of the folder. So we'll use the sudo command and the change owner, CHOWN, command to recursively change the ownership from or to www-data for the folder var www. So to reiterate, we're changing the ownership of this folder and every folder under it to www-data. And if we take a look at that, you'll see ls-lha. You'll see that it now belongs to www-data. The next thing we'd like to do is change the mode of the files. So we're going to use chmod to change the read-write settings on these files so that www-data can actually write to this folder. So a lot like we did the change ownership, we're going to change the mode -r, but we're going to give the group write permissions. That's the G plus W for var www. Now, if we take a look at it, we can see that we have the ability to write to the files in the HTML folder. This will allow us to edit files in the HTML folder, to add to them, and so on, as the www-data user and group.